Hey, everybody. So, in class this last week, I helped everybody write their Cujo think question. So, if you were absent, I don't want you to lose out on that opportunity. Now, before you write your think question, make sure that you finished writing your Cujo inferences. And remember, for the inferences, we have described Cujo's appearance, describe how Cujo knows Donna, and I want you to write two events, before Tad screams in paragraph 15, and two events after Tad screams in paragraph 15. And for each event, make sure that you have the paragraph number so I know where you got that information from. Now, when I look at a think question, at the top, it's always going to say the same thing in my class. Answer the following questions using our eraser format. Make sure you cite the paragraph you're quoting. Your final responses should be double spaced, written in Times New Roman, 12-point font. And again, double spaced, Times New Roman, 12-point font. That's something that you will see for the rest of your life. Congratulations, and I'm sorry. That's just going to be a thing. Okay. I'm not even going to read this question yet. I'm going to do the first thing that I know that I need to do. And that is, I'm going to write racer. R A C E R. First thing. Now, read question number 1. I'm going to help. Based on the descriptions and events in this excerpt, remember, excerpt meaning Cujo is an actual novel, and we read 6 pages or even less. We read a short portion of the book, so that is an excerpt. Based on the descriptions based on the descriptions and events in this excerpt, what can you infer about the title character Cujo? Use textual evidence to explain your inferences, which we will. But based on descriptions and events, well, look. Here are my descriptions. Here are my events. Boom. There you go. Making it easy. First things first. We need to rewrite this as the beginning of our paragraph. So I would really love if you actually paused my video for just a moment to try to figure out, how would you reword this? How would you write this? What do you think? And I'm going to pause. And I'm going to tell you. You don't need to change that much. Don't overthink it. So, based on the descriptions and events in this excerpt, what can you infer about the title character Cujo? Here's how I'm going to restate this. Based on the descriptions and events in this excerpt, exact same thing. So, what can you infer? I can infer that the title character Cujo, Cujo, and I've restated my question. Based on the descriptions and events in this excerpt, I can infer that the title character Cujo, and answer it. What can you infer about Cujo? Well, you might say, I'm going to push Control Z, get this A back. See how it just jumped out on its own? I'm going to push Control Z, that'll push it back. I can infer that the title character Cujo is rabid. And what else? What do you know about Cujo? Right now, in your answer, keep it simple. Is rabid and dangerous. I'm fine with that. That works. That's a good, strong opening. Now, we need to cite our evidence. We have to do our citation. But even before we cite the evidence, even before we find a quote, what do we need to do first? Do you remember? Please remember that you can't assume that whoever's reading your work, even if it's me, your teacher, you can't assume that I know what we're talking about, that I know the book. So you have to remind me the book. So you have to start by saying, in Cujo, and who's the author? Stephen King. In Cujo by Stephen King. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight Cujo, and then I'm going to italicize the title. So, in Cujo by Stephen King, good start. Now, we started by talking about descriptions here, so we're going to start with descriptions in here. In Cujo by Stephen King, the dog is described as. All right, let's go look. What did I say? Oh, here's red and roomy eyes. Okay, so the dog is described as having, quote, red and roomy eyes. Everybody, you see how I misspelled roomy? I misspelled it because there's these red squiggle lines underneath it. If you have these red squiggle lines, if you click on the word, there's a good chance that it's going to say, hey, did you mean this? And then you click on it. Or if it doesn't pop up, click on the word with 2 fingers or right click, and it'll say, hey, did you mean this spelling? And you'll be like, yes, I did. So the dog is described as having red and roomy eyes. Where did I find that? Oh, paragraph 10. Paragraph 10. Okay, so in Cujo by Stephen King, the dog is described as having red and roomy eyes. This proves that Cujo has rabies. Sure, why not? That works. I'm happy with that. Now, what is an event? So we've talked about a description of Cujo. Now, what is an event that we know about Cujo? And I want you to find a big event that really describes the dog well. So I would suggest that you find an event closer to the climax, because that will really show me who Cujo is. So if I look at my events, I can see before Tad screams, he paces slowly and languidly. Okay. He's growling. Maybe growling doesn't stop, but it's not like intense. I want to prove that Cujo is dangerous. So let's look over here. Oh, Cujo's growl rose to a shattering roar of rage, and he charged at her. I love that. So I'm going to go there. So here's what I'm going to say from paragraph 16. So I'm going to reread what I wrote once again. Again, I do this all of the time to make sure that I know what I'm writing. In Cujo by Stephen King, the dog is described as having red and roomy eyes. This proves that Cujo has rabies. Cujo, wait, how is it worded? Cujo also has, I should actually just say, Cujo's growl rose to a shattering roar of rage, and he charged at her. Growl rose to a shattering roar of rage, and he charged at her. Cujo's growl rose to a shattering roar of rage, and he charged at her. Close quote. Paragraph 16, period. In Cujo by Stephen King, the dog is described as having red and roomy eyes. Paragraph 10. This proves that Cujo has rabies. Cujo's growl rose to a shattering roar of rage, and he charged at her. Paragraph 16, period. Okay. What does that mean? And again, you don't need to rethink the wheel. You know the information. You already know it. You just have to tell me. So what does that mean that Cujo's growl rose to a shattering roar of rage and he charged at her? What does that mean? Well, this shows that, or instead of shows, whoops, say, this means that Cujo was trying to attack Donna. Cujo attacked anybody before? You bet. Cujo has already killed his owner and is trying to hurt more people. This means that Cujo is trying to attack Donna. Cujo has already killed his owner and is trying to hurt more people. And then I just need to kind of restate what we've talked about. So it's let's just say this proves that Cujo is a dangerous and a potentially killer dog. Oh, blue squiggly lines. What does that mean? Oh, it says get rid of that A. It's a dangerous and potentially killer dog. This proves that Cujo is a dangerous and potentially killer dog. Boom. Based on the descriptions and events in this excerpt, what can you infer about the title character Cujo? Based on the descriptions and events in this excerpt, I can infer that the title character Cujo is rabid and dangerous. In Cujo by Stephen King, the dog is described as having red and roomy eyes. Okay? This proves that Cujo has rabies. All right? Cujo's growl rose to a shattering roar of rage, and he charged at her. This means that Cujo was trying to attack Donna. Cujo has already killed his owner and is trying to hurt more people. This proves that Cujo is a dangerous and potentially killer dog. Works for me. So now, once we've done this, we need to make this double space and make sure that it's written in Times New Roman. So I need to highlight all of my sentences, but I'm not going to take the R at the beginning. I'm going to highlight that. I'm going to push Control C. I'm going to go down here to the bottom, and I'm going to push Control V. Then I'm going to grab the A, Control C, over here to Control V. Now look, if there's suddenly like no space, you have to make sure that I'm putting proper spaces. I'm going to go to the next one. Control C, over here, Control V. See how there's no space? Make sure that there's a space. Now, if you accidentally put it down here like this, you just need to push the backspace button and it'll bring it all together. Control C, space, Control V, Control C, Control V. Now here's my paragraph, and it's all here together. So I need to make this Times New Roman 12-point font double spaced. So I'm going to highlight everything. I'm going to double click it to highlight everything, or I can just drag, let go. Everything's highlighted. Up over here on the left, underneath where it says add-ons, you can see the fonts. If I click on the fonts, I can make sure that it's Times New Roman, that everything is the same. So you need to do that. Then I'm going to double check to make sure that everything is written in 12-point font, which it is. So we're good there. Now I need to double space this paragraph. To double space the paragraph, I'm going to go up here to where it says Format. So I have File, Edit, View, Insert, Format. I'm going to click on that. And I'm going to go down to where it says Line and Paragraph Spacing. I'm going to go to Line and Paragraph Spacing, and I'm going to go over. And I've got single, 1.15, 1.5, and double. And I'm going to click double. And there that goes. The very last thing that I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go to the top, or excuse me, the beginning of the paragraph in front of where it says based. And I need to indent the beginning of my paragraph. To indent the beginning of my paragraph, I need to push the tab button one time. The tab button is on the left side of your keyboard by the Q key. So on the top left by Q, where it says tab, push that one time, just like that. Now, this is a perfect paragraph. So if you were absent, you can copy this and then please submit your Cujo Think question. Thank you.